Okay, guys, this is the Ohio Star block that I'm going to show you how to make. Very simple, very easy. The finished block is going to look like this. So we have kits here available at the shop. We are making the Ohio Star block to put together for our Dialis Center quilts. You have a center block, and the center block can match these two blocks, 4 blocks. You can see on this one, it's a perfect match. You can make each one of these scrappy if you wanted to. And then you've got the 2 end blocks. So overall, what you are going to need is you're going to need a center block. This one is my center block. I don't think this is the right size. This one here is, you're going to need 2 white and 2 color. So this is my color block. This is my white block. Now for us, we do ask that you keep the white in the same position on any of the Ohio Star blocks that you do. You can change up all the other colors, but we do ask that you keep the white in the white position. The next thing you are going to need are 2 other colors. This one I'm doing green, and then 2 more whites. So you're going to need a total of 4 white blocks, 4 color or print blocks. The first 2 blocks that we are going to work with are going to be the blocks that are here, here, here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, the hourglass blocks. And the way that you do those is that you're going to take your ruler after you've pressed them, and you are going to line your ruler up to the center mark. Draw a line down the center, and you're going to sew 1/4 inch on each side of those blocks, each side of the line. So you're going down the center, you're drawing your line, draw your line, and go straight down the center. And then you are going to sew your 1/4 inch seam on each side of the line you just drew. So I'm going to put that down. I'm going to do my sew along. So I chain piece these together, which means I don't take them off. I just do a couple of stitches and put the next block in and do my 1/4 inch seam down the other side. I'm gonna cut this one off. And I'm gonna put it back in there again to do the other side. My 1/4 inch. From my drawn line. That's what you are actually doing. You're doing a 1/4 inch on each side of the line you just drew. Now, you could also go ahead and you could do your next 2 blocks the exact same way. You're going to draw your line down the center. Draw your line down the center. You're going to sew your 1/4 inch. So on all 4 sets of blocks, you're going to do it the exact same way. That also helps to prevent the thread from unthreading at your needle. It also helps if you have a hard time with the start. So, chain piecing is one of my favorite things to do, especially when I'm doing half square triangles. It just seems to make it go by that much faster as well. So I now have all 4 of my squares. I have the center line drawn, 1/4 inch to the left, 1/4 inch to the right. So the green squares, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and cut right on the line that I drew. I'm going to cut that down on both of those. My 1/4 inch line. And then on the first 2, the bigger set of squares, I am going to, the directions tell you to actually cut the opposite corner. So this is where my line is drawn and sewed. But it tells you to cut this line first. So I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to line my ruler up and I'm going to cut it. And then it tells you to keep everything there. So if you have a rotating mat, this is the perfect time to use that rotating mat. And we're going to put those back on there. And I am going to cut on the line I just drew. So now you actually have 4 pieces that look just like this. Okay. So we're going to do one more so that you can see. One more. Those are my 4 pieces. So we are turning. This is our line that we sewed. And we're going to cut the opposite side first. That's what the directions for this one says to do. Then we are just going to turn it around. And we're going to cut down that line that we sewed our 1/4 inch. And we've got those 4 pieces. Got those 4 pieces. Now I'm gonna take them all over to the ironing board real quick and I'm gonna press them all open. It tells you, if you were using red and blue, it tells you to press to the red side or press to the blue side. So I'm just laying them out and pressing them. Because anytime I don't press them, trust me, I'm gonna get in trouble. Just gonna get myself in trouble. So I'm gonna press them all out. If I thought you guys needed to come over here with me, I'd have brought you over here, but I think you are just fine without. I think everybody knows how to press. Just make sure you're pressing to the dark side or the colored side. We are pressing to the dark side. I'm sorry I'm off camera to do that. So you could set up an ironing station that was much closer to you, or you can get your steps in and walk back and forth to the ironing board. I try to do all the ironing at one time, all the pressing at one time, and that way it just makes it that much easier. So everything's ironed, and what we are going to do, I'm going to put the green and white blocks over to the side for the moment, and we are going to put these together first. Maybe we will if I can figure out what I'm supposed to be doing today. Goodness gracious, I'm having a moment. There we go. We got this one. Put those together. And the seams should nest. So make sure that your seams are nesting very well. They're locking together. Gonna make sure they lock together. We're gonna do our next one. Same way, if we pressed everything to the dark side, then they automatically make a little locking seam. Put those back. So I have my 1/4 inch sew foot on here. Now, this is the Ohio Star block, and what we have asked is that we have asked all of our regular customers to help us out with the Alice Center charity quilts. Some of our quilters will donate whole quilts. Some of our quilters cannot do a whole quilt, so they will make one block each month. If you would like to help us out with an Ohio Star block, we would be happy to take those. The Ohio Star blocks will all be put together. We do 30 blocks in one quilt, and that will be our dialysis center. We will put batting and backing, and here at Material Things, we will long arm them, and then we will donate all of those quilts to our area dialysis centers. I'm going back to the ironing board real quick to press the seam open. And then what we are going to do, is that we're going to trim all of our blocks. So I pressed all of those. Now what we are going to do is we're going to trim every one of our blocks to 4.5 inches. So if you have a 4.5 inch ruler, it's a perfect way to do it. Just set it up on the 4.5 inch mark. You're going to trim just gonna check the other side. My 4.5 inch. That one did not get trimmed all the way. 4.5 inch. So it only takes a couple of minutes. Don't really have a lot of waste. Put this on here. Let me slide it back over. So my 4.5 is right there. 4.5. My 4.5 is right there. My 4.5 is right there. Gonna do it. So on the OmniGrid, if you look on the OmniGrid, you can see the diagonal line. Hopefully you can see that right there. If you line that up on your center and then set up your 4.5 inches, it will give you a perfect cut every time. Just make sure that you are putting that triangle on the 45-degree angle. And it's going to give you that 4.5 every time. Put my 4.5, 4.5. That's number 3. This one is going to be in number 4, 4.5. Gotta move it over a little bit. Sorry, guys. 4.5. 4.5. Sometimes you just got to manipulate it a little bit to get it exactly where you want it. Same way here, 4.5, and my 4.5. All right, whoops, took a little piece. So we got all of the half square triangles just trimmed. So now we are gonna do the quarter squares. And basically, we're going to do it the same way. We're going to set it up at 4.5. Going to line up our 4.5 line mark. This one's going to have a little bit more fabric that trims off. We're going to flip it over to the other side. Line our line up, get our line going first, and then we should have 4.5 by 4.5. And this is how you're also gonna know if you're gonna have matching points or not. Now, I will say that our charity quilts are very forgiving. You do not trim the finished block. You only want to trim each block that you're going to put in there. That will help us out tremendously for when the volunteers are here on volunteer day and they are sewing the blocks together. But we do have to have 30 blocks, so we could use as much help as we can get. So this one's going to be off just a hair. It's going to be off just a hair, but it's all good. Sometimes scrappy is better. Sometimes scrappy makes things a little crazy. I can move that up a little bit, straighten it out. Did not do a good job with pressing that seam. I'll have to finger press that down a little bit. So I knew something was wrong because all my other blocks had pressed out to my 4.5, except for this one. And it was all in the pressing. Sometimes the pressing can make life really crazy. And that one definitely just did it. 4.5 by the 4.5. Ooh. What happened there? Oh, I'm off the line. 4.5 by my 4.5. So probably one of the things I should have done was went back over, but I really felt like I could just finger press it. If I finger press hard enough, it really will stay down. I had a little edge bubble in that, so that's why it was so off. 4.5 by 4.5. All right, that is all my trim pieces. And then we're gonna lay the block out. So on your kit, in your kit, you have a pattern. The pattern is easily read. The directions are very well done. I try to just lay mine out directly on, if I'm doing more than one, I'm gonna do them on the blocks. So I laid it out. This is the first one, second one. I'm gonna match up the seams. Now, this is where I become directionally challenged. I am going to press my seam, finger press it, and then I attach my next block. I realize you might be upside down to see this, but just follow your layout. It's going to give you that perfect point every time. All right, I'm going to do the second row. So my center square is the wrong size. I need a 4.5 inch center square. This center square was actually 4 inches. Let me see if I can grab something that's just 4.5 inches. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to grab a square that is 4.5. Trying to make one that's not quite so crazy looking. We'll use this center green one. All right, let me put that back there for a minute. I'm gonna trim this up at 4.5. And gonna trim this one up. Okay. Let's make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. 1, 2, 3, 4.5. All right. much better fit. So that one is up. This one on this side. My 4.5. That one's ready. So you can either do all 3 rows, or you can do row 1 and row 2 and then connect them, or you could do like I'm doing. Gonna attach all 3 rows, and then I'll attach them together. I just unthreaded my needle. Because you know I have to do that at least once a day. If I don't do it at least once a day, I would make myself crazy. This one went there. This one's gonna go here. So it's taken us 32, 33 minutes. If you had your iron closer, it would not have taken you as long. If you don't have your iron close enough, it might take you a few minutes to walk over there. So again, we're nesting our seams where they line up at. Putting them back in there to nest. This one's going here to nest. These 2 should be point on. My row's dead in the center. And then I flip the bottom row up to the center. I'm gonna nest them again. Put my points together. Rest them together. And there we go. An Ohio Star block. About 30 minutes is how long it took to make. So our mailing address is in our bio. If you are not one of our regular customers and you would like to donate an Ohio Star block to go in our charity quilts. If you are one of our quilters, we do have kits with the patterns available. You are welcome to stop in. They will be here We're doing a shop hop in July and August. So we are definitely going to have blocks available for any of the shop hoppers. So hopefully that they will help us out. Make some Ohio Star blocks. But look how good those points come together. They are really, really good. All right, so this is an Ohio Star block. If you had never made one, congratulations, you made one today. If you need more information about donating to our charity for the Dialysis Star, our email, our phone number, all of that is in our bio. You can reach out. You can also join us on Facebook at Material Things VA. Other than that, thanks for learning how to do the Ohio Star block.